Part of my place in this journey is to help you connect the physical body and the emotional body with connecting to your high self. So what I'm going to show you today, we're going to address the body from a physical perspective, because again, if your muscles are tight, they're putting pressure on the nerves. So the cranial nerve, the vagus nerve, is very important for relaxing the body. So if that is not being like it's understimulated or overstimulated, it affects digestion, rest, sleep, and it can cause anxiety, depression, and it just creates an agitated state. So we can be meditating, but if our body, if those muscles are clamping down on that nerve, it's like stepping on a hose. It's not getting the right signal. So again, you're working twice as hard. So sometimes, because even though we are vibrating electrons and we have these energy bodies, we right now are lodged in a physical body. So, I always like to start with that, like unblocking physically as much restriction as possible, because everything's about flow. So what I found in my practice that works the best is when I do cranial sacral therapy, and then also PNF stretching. And the PNF stretching is what I'd like to share with you first, because that is really just releasing the muscles. So what happens when the muscles get tight, they contract. So when they're shortening, over time, this should be like, say, this muscle right here, this is sternocleidomastoid. When you turn, it's supposed to be doing this. Over time, it shortens and you have less range of motion. Then over time, it clamps. And every time you turn, now you're doing this. So many people clench and they're restricted. And no matter what's going on in your life, if your body's constricted that way, it thinks it's in fight or flight. So it keeps you in sympathetic overdrive, which keeps you in a state of an aroused state. So it's very hard, no matter if you're meditating, praying, whatever you're doing to try to get to a certain place, you're going to be really overriding your system. So what I'm hoping to do with these, and what I do in person with people, is I like to go in and you slack out and lengthen those muscles. So then the nerves that are going through have room. So I'm going to be showing you that. It's PNF stretching. It's basically proprioceptive neuromuscular technique, and you can do it yourself. And there's just a few stretches that you could do for the jaw and the neck that are going to just slack out the muscles and relax. The second piece is connecting the electrochemical system. So again, your pineal, your pituitary, so it's called the HPAT axis. It's your hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal, thyroid axis. And where people say, oh, you need insulin, or you need, we take drugs, but there's also an electrical piece, the communication system between these organs. When you're in stress for a long period of time, it gets offline. So say you have a sugar, your body's supposed to release insulin, and then it releases adrenaline to send it to the liver, and it has this whole thing. But over time, it doesn't know if you had a teaspoon of ice cream or a gallon of ice cream. It's dumping like you had a gallon of ice cream, which translates in your body as more insulin, which means you store more fat. People start seeing physical things, but also with that, when you're producing that, you're producing adrenaline, and then people are getting this stress response. So you have a little bit of stress and your body doesn't know the difference between a natural emergency and, oh, I'm just late for work. So part of it is, again, resetting it. It's sort of like when your phone goes offline and you do that hard reboot. It's sort of what you're doing. So I'm going to show you just ways to reconnect the electrical circuits in our body, just so that the information is flowing more clearly in sharing the information properly. I'm going to just teach you how to, because we all do breath work and we all do meditation, but there's some body locks that we can do that are going to kind of connect you to your body so that you can flow the energy up and down. And that way, not only are we getting things moving, that's a way that you can go in and assess when you start doing it and you understand how the flow should go. You can be like, it's stopping here today. And then you can, I'll teach you some specific energy movements for wherever it's stopping in your body, as well as, then you can translate to a chart of like, okay, that's the chakra. Is this going on in my life? So there's so many correlations. And I used to all think it was also silly, but over 20 years, I'm so amazed how accurate it is. So again, these are very few things there's so many more resources besides me, but I'm just going to teach you the few things that really I have found work, and they work fast, and they're effortless. So let's go. To start with is the PNF stretching. So we always know, like, if your neck's tight, you want to stretch and that releases it. But again, if your body's tight and you start to stretch a muscle, sometimes it contracts more because it's trying to protect you. So I think why the PNF stretching works is because it's sort of tricking your brain into releasing acetylcholine, which is going to slack out and release the muscle. Because when you contract, your body automatically creates chemicals that are, so a contraction is a tightening, a shortening, and a contraction. And then your body creates chemicals that are going to slack and release. So what we're doing is we're not shortening the muscle, but we're just contracting it, and we're sort of tricking it into thinking it's contracting more. So then when it releases, it's going to release from an already lengthened state. And then it's followed by a stretch. So it's usually very dramatic. You have this much range of motion, and then you do a little bit of resistance, and suddenly you can go twice as far, which obviously translates into releasing the muscles. Anytime anything's short, it's constricting. And again, you want your energy to flow, you want your blood flow, the nerve flow, the less restriction, the better. So C1 is sort of where it's all at. That's your brainstem, your vagus nerve, that's your 10th cranial nerve. That has to do with everything, digestion, relaxing. So again, if that's tight, if your neck's tight, if your jaw's tight, if you're clenching, it kind of keeps you in fight or flight. So what I have found is no matter what anyone comes in for, I always release the jaw, because the jaw, when that's tight, it's literally contracting C1. So the mouth work that I always like to start with is, and you can even feel, you can kind of go up to C1 and kind of, it's right where your neck comes to the bony part. If you kind of go in there, you can sort of feel, is it tight? Is it loose? And then you want to kind of go in and just warm up these muscles. Sometimes just go in, relax the neck, kind of do rotational. You might want to start with, then you bring your shoulders up and then relax. Then you clench and you relax. And then I want you to take your jaw, and you can resist whichever way is comfortable for you. And you're basically, a PNF stretch is basically you're resisting the action of the muscle, and then you're stretching it. So right now your jaw, the idea is it opens and closes. So you're going to do a resistance. You're just creating a barrier, and you want to open and then relax. And you'll feel that. You'll feel all this pressure coming to the back of the neck. So again, you want to do, and ideally you want to do it, hold it 7 to 10 seconds. You just want 10% of your strength. It isn't a strength thing. Again, it's just tricking the brain into releasing acetylcholine. So we're going to resist. We're going to hold it for 7 to 10 seconds, and then you relax. And then you would go in. It's not really something we can stretch. Then you're just going to kind of massage, because now what's happening is it's going from this, and now it's like lengthening. So now you just want to let it know, okay, lengthen. So we're going to kind of go in, and everything you want to do 3 times. So you want to open and then relax. And again, what I'm doing is I'm pushing my jaw down into my hands. This is a barrier. I'm not pushing up. I'm opening my chin. I'm opening my mouth, and I'm pressing the chin down. And then, so you do that 3 times. Then you go in, and you can do it with a towel. I've been looking for tools for years, and I've done everything from tongue depressors to spatulas. And funny enough, the one silver lining of COVID is the masks people are wearing are a perfect barrier. So they put the mask on, and then I can just put my hands in, or you can put your own hands in. And then, so basically, then you want to go and you want to put your fingers kind of against your teeth. So you're opening your jaw, you're putting your hands in, and now you're biting. So you're resisting your hands. So you're kind of holding them there. You're biting. I'm not going to do it. And then you relax, and then you want to do that 3 times. And then you want to take the chin, and you're going to slide it one way and then slide it the other way. And basically everything you do, you want it to be bilateral. So if you open, you close. If you go right, you go left. If you flex, you extend, because you always want to have the balance. So then you kind of want to create, again, a barrier, maybe right against your jaw here, coming down this line. And then you want to press to the right. Hold it 7 to 10 seconds and relax. And then again, you want to kind of go in and release that a little bit. Then you do it again. And relax. And again, if you have more time, you can play around more too. So you can go this way, but if you project out a little and then go right, you're getting all different muscles. So anything we do, if you change the angle just a little bit until you find like, oh yeah, that's the guy who started it all. That's when you release that, then everything can release. But if not, everything's constricted and, no matter what you're doing, your body isn't going to relax all the way. So then you go to the other side. So again, you're doing 3, you're holding 7 to 10 seconds each. And then in between each, you're sort of, letting it relax. Then you're going to go to the other side. And again, whatever's comfortable. Some people do this, you might want to do this, whatever that you feel that you have a good broad restriction. So I'm going to go to the left. And this side's much weaker for me. So that's another thing you'll notice. You'll say, wow, this side's like really strong and this side isn't even like on board. So that's also opening up the cranial nerves and it's connecting right and left brain. So there's so many more things to this than just physical. So then we're going to go left and relax. So then you want to go in and do that. So I always start with that because that unlocks C1. If I only have time to do anything, it would be that or the tongue work, which I'll show you last. And then for just a general neck, you would put your hands behind your head and push back. Hold it 7 to 10 seconds and then relax. And then now you're going to follow it with a stretch. And you never go past end range. You kind of want to, say you go back here and that's about where you're tight. You don't want to start there. You want to come back a little forward and then just a little before the resistance, where you lock. Then I'm going to have you push back and relax and you stretch. And then again, you can kind of go in and massage the muscles because now it could have been tight like this for years and you're letting it know like it's okay, settle down, relax, lengthen. Because what we're doing is just trying to lengthen these muscles. So again, you're going to press back and exhale. And the breath work you don't have to do with it, but if you add the optimal breathing with this would be, so you inhale, then you're kind of holding your breath when you're pushing, and then you're exhaling and stretching. Because again, that's telling your brain that it's safe to relax. And now when you're in the stretch position, that's when you want to go and kind of squeeze and wake it up and, it's letting go. Okay, so then you would do the opposite. So now we did extension. So now we're going to flex the neck muscles. So this you would, kind of put your hand on your forehead, whatever's comfortable, keep your neck neutral. And you're going to press forward. You're almost tilting your chin down, but you're really not letting it go because you're stopping it here. And you'll feel that all through here. And relax. Kind of massage that a little bit. Then you do it again. Inhale, hold your breath, push forward. You're letting that tension build, and then you exhale and relax. And what's cool with this, it's telling the brain to release all the neurotransmitters and relaxation chemicals that are going to help this. Like instantly you can feel like this is so much looser already on me. I had no idea I was this tight, but it's really softening. So again, you do 3 times, everything you do 3 times. Then you want to go right and left. So they're called lateral bends. So there's 2 different ways you can do it. You can either just make a resistance here. So you're pushing to the right and you're going to press. And you can feel like this muscle right here. It's really contracted. And then as you exhale, you let it stretch. But again, you don't overly stretch because you don't want it to clamp down to protect itself. So then you go in, kind of just palpate that. And do it again. Inhale. Push to the right. And exhale. And each time you should go a little further, like see how much more my head went. And the other way of doing this, if it's more comfortable not doing your hand this way, is people often do this. So again, this is just the other version. So you're still going to the right and you're resisting against your hand. And again, you're not pulling with your hand. This is a barrier and you're pushing to the right. So push to the right, breathe in, hold your breath, and then exhale and let it go. And then we'll just do one more. So go ahead and push to the right. And exhale. And then you should feel like sometimes people just like completely release and the range completes, or sometimes it's little by little, but either way, you're unlocking it. And then it's good to go in and just massage it because there's a lot of adhesions and tightness that builds up. And again, a lot of this is to protect you. 99% of all our issues is our body trying to protect us. So then we want to go to the other side. So now we're going to be turning left. And we're going to put our hand this way. It's a barrier. And you go left. You hold it 7 to 10 seconds. And then you exhale and you let it stretch. And again, if you want to go in and rub it, you're just kind of letting it know it's okay. Okay. Then we do it again. Go ahead and push to the left. And relax and let it stretch. And see now that stretch, and I didn't feel it pull. Before I felt all this wants to go with it. And now it's releasing, it's lengthening. So now we can stretch. Before, when you're stretching, you're just kind of pulling everything with you. And so that's one of the reasons yoga works so well. You're doing a contracted muscular contraction, then you're holding it, and then it's releasing, and then you're stretching it. So again, you can go this way, or you can always just use this hand. Just feel what's more comfortable for you. But what's really important is keeping your spine straight, your neck neutral when you're doing these. Okay. So those are just the, lateral, right, left, front, back. So again, those are just really good at like a very comprehensive, like if you only had 4, you get the main groups. Now you want to go in specifically. So your sternocleidomastoid, this is what's so involved when people clench. And again, when you clench, your body thinks you're running from the bear, you're in fight or flight. So the more we can keep your body, your jaw relaxed, it's going to help you chemically. It's going to help you sleep better. It's going to help digestion, because again, when that's tight, your vagus nerve is clamped. Your, your body thinks it's in danger. So, the sternocleidomastoid is what kind of hooks up to that. It's part of the TMJ joint. The TMJ is the temporomandibular joint right here, and the sternocleidomastoid comes right into that. So the action of this muscle is to rotate. So when you're rotating, see how that's lengthening and that's contracting, but when that's tight, again, you're not turning. So we want to release that so that it's not a tug of war in this jaw joint right here. So what you want to do is, again, you figure out whatever hand placement works best for you, but you're going to rotate in a certain direction and resist. So first we're going to rotate to the right. So I'm going to put your hands, you're going to put your hands here. And again, you're not pushing, you're a barrier and you're turning into it. So you might want to stabilize with 2 hands and just rotate. And again, you can even let go with this hand and feel up there, like see how that's constricted. You wouldn't think it is, but it is. Then you relax and you stretch. Then you do it again, rotate to the right and relax. And like right now I'm feeling the softening, like say it was a 10, like it's already at a 5. So you'll feel like this band just starting to slack out and release. So again, we're doing it 3 times each, 7 to 10 seconds, just 10% of your strength. It's not a strength thing. It's just triggering your brain to relax the muscle. So then again, you're going to rotate and relax. And again, you can kind of go in and massage it. Now we're going to go to the opposite way. So now we're going to rotate to the left. And again, you can kind of palpate in, feel how tight it is first. Then rotate to the left and resist. Really, you're not doing anything with this hand other than stabilizing this. So you're rotating and you can feel. And again, notice if you move your hand lower, like if it's getting the muscle better, figure out what hits your tight point. Okay, so then you rotate to the left and relax. And also be aware, like I'm noticing when I'm doing this, my whole back, I didn't realize how tight my back is until you start moving this, because we start moving, everything adheres together. So part of this is releasing each thing so that your body is more flexible. Okay, so that's right, left, back, forward. The other one is We did the chin where we open, but now what we want to do is we're tilting the head forward. And this is going to release the flex muscle, the flexion of your neck. So we're going to resist, or you could do this, and you're just tilting forward. You're keeping your mouth closed, but you're tilting forward. So go ahead and breathe in, and then and relax. And then you're extending back. So what we're doing is we're constricting these muscles and then relaxing. And each time you're going to go a little further. So now I stop here. So from there, I'm going to start, and I'm going to pull down. And then I'm going to relax. Then see how much further that went. So that was really locked, because we're on our computers all the time. I was just on a plane watching a movie, so I was down. So we're just going in and kind of lengthening these so they're not in a constricted. Because again, if we're constricted here, these go down to the first and second rib. And if that's tight, then you can't do a deep breath because we're doing shallow breathing. Like if this can't expand, it keeps us in a really short breath pattern. So we'll do one more of those. Again, you can do however you want, but you're just tilting forward with resistance. And then we're stretching back. There you go. So this is much softer. And then you might want to do like one in each direction, just because now that this lengthened, this might have a little more room because maybe they were, crossing over each other. So then I want to go forward one. I want to go back one. And now this feels like it can go so much further. Like before I kind of stopped here, where now I feel like these muscles aren't all hooked into my rhomboids. They're going to just fall. I'm going to go to the right and stretch. And then I'm going to go left and stretch. Then I'm going to open the jaw and relax. So we're just basically circling back through. And now, usually it's pretty dramatic. And with me, I can feel it. But with clients, usually one wrap around and I can't believe how much softer everything is, which is why I always start with this. Because if you're tight, you can get massage, you can, chiropractic is great too because it releases C1. But if you don't lengthen the muscles, then you're just sort of softening tight, short muscles. And so then you're going to bite. You're biting up with resistance and then relaxing. Okay, so those are the basic cervical TMJ releases. The one I stumbled across years ago was the tongue. I kind of just did it on someone because their neck was so locked and they had a form of torticollis and their tongue was literally stuck on the roof of their mouth and nothing was working. So I just tried to apply the isometric stretch to the tongue and their whole body fatigued. So what's great about it is the tongue is really the muscle that goes down and your vagus nerve goes right along with it. So I really feel this is a great tool for just relaxing everything. It's going to be kind of hard to do in a video, but basically you would use a towel or gloves or whatever you want, but you're just trying to create a resistance on your tongue. So you're going to stick your tongue out and you're going to press up against your hand. So you're sticking your tongue out and you're pushing up with resistance. And again, you're just 7 to 10 seconds. Don't strain because you'll feel everything engaging. You don't want to make it clamp down. You want to just do a little bit of resistance and relax, and then you want to go in and kind of relax it. So you do that 3 times, then you go under the tongue. So whichever direction works better for you, or you can use a spatula, like not a spatula, like the cake batter kind, like those seem to have the right contour. You can just use a dishcloth, a washcloth, whatever you feel comfortable with. So then you're going under your tongue and you want to have a base and you're going to push your tongue down into your hand and relax it. And again, in between, kind of massage everything. So you do that 3 times this way, and then you stick your tongue out and you go this way and you're resisting. So you want to kind of line up your fingers on the side of your tongue in a way that it feels stabilized. So you want to stick your tongue out and go to the right, and you're going to resist. I'm not going to do it on the video because it would look weird. And then I'm going to have you stick your tongue out and go left. And this is one, just like I said with the jaw, people will be so strong this way and they can't even make their tongue go this way, which shows, you know, the neural pathways, the cranial nerves, everything isn't communicating properly. You can always add in angles. If someone can't get it to work one way, like I have them look with their eyes this way and then go, and then it kind of fatigues the circuit and it's like, oh, and then they can do it. So basically you want to just go up, down, right, left. And then it's always better to circle back around. I like to do one of each when I'm done with anything, just so that now everything, you know, we're sort of just reintroducing new information. It's been working really contracted, sometimes for years. So once you release it, it's going to start tightening back up. So when we're done with the whole process, it's nice to just kind of circle back around and do one of each thing. Go into massage, take a deep breath. And then throughout the day, you know, just check in. You can be at the light and just like in your car and just kind of bite, release, right, left. You can do it before bed. You can do it when you wake up. It's not just limited to people with TMJ. It's just really going to relax your nervous system and soften everything, because between whiplash, I mean, who hasn't had whiplash at some point, or again, just our posture from just how we're always on our phones and we're always looking down, everything gets really tight. And when this is tight, again, it's keeping you in a contracted state. And if we're trying to open up and we're trying to connect to our higher self, and we're trying to, you know, if we're working through any kind of physical or emotional healing, you know, our brain can't be working at its full capacity if it's contracted. So all we're trying to do is open, release, and create flow. So next, the body's electrochemical. So everything are these electrical synapses, their currents, and the idea of like acupuncture, anything with the meridian system, there's an electrical piece to that, and that it travels through your myofascial, you know, so that's why you want to not have your muscles and your fascial system tight. But also you want a clear pathway, but also now that the pathway is clear, we want to connect the circuits. So just like you can blow a fuse, we blow fuses all the time. So emotions can blow them, chemicals, you know, PTSD, a lot of that is you blow a fuse and then your body reroutes, but then you're working twice as hard. So what I like to do is with people, and there's a few I can show you that are just basic, but we want to put it back online. So just like when you blow a fuse and you go down and you flip the switch in your basement or whatever, and it miraculously goes back on, it's the same thing. Sorry. Okay, so basically, again, Western medicine focuses on organs and glands and chemistry, where we're focusing on the communication between the organs and the gland, which create the chemistry. So the pineal gland, one of the points that represented is if you just touch your head, just like it's the third eye. It's represented all through history, different ways, as like the pineapple, the pineal gland, the third eye. So there's a physical piece, the pineal gland, that can create that piezoelectrical effect when people get to that enlightened state. But again, if it's blocked physically or structurally, or it's tight, you know, you're not going to have that same energy flow. So we're going to do the pineal, and then pituitary, which the one system I use, it's you're connecting it to it this way, which I'll show you that. So we're going to just do those two because I feel like those are really important. So you would kind of just touch there, sort of like it's more intention. You're letting you know, like we're working on the pineal gland. And so you want to kind of hold that, and then you're going to do a compression of the head, because it's this little gland in the middle of your head. So you're kind of doing a little squeeze and lift. So again, if you want to put your finger there just for intention, you kind of do a little squeeze. It's not a hard squeeze, it's just a little squeeze, and lift up and exhale. And again, you want to touch it. Inhale, exhale. And again, you're pressing there, and then you're putting your palms here, and you're squeezing in and up, and exhale. Another way is you close your eyes, but you roll your eyes up and you roll your eyes down. So now the pituitary gland is really important, because when we talk about fight or flight or the stress response, it's the HPAT axis. So again, that's the hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal, thyroid. So they're all kind of working together. So if one's offline, it's not getting the right messages. So then you're dumping more insulin, you're dumping more adrenaline, you're dumping more cortisol. So you're not getting the chemical reaction you need, but it's also keeping your body into fight or flight. So the pituitary is actually like traffic control for all your hormones. So if that's off, you can be taking thyroid meds, you can be taking all your supplements, you can be doing everything, but it's overfiring or it's underfiring and you're not getting the information. So the, there's different modalities, but the one that I like is from Total Body Modification. And you sort of just slide up to right under your ridge of your eyebrows. And then you take this hand, and again, you're kind of making a C, and you're going to kind of come up the back of your neck to right where the end of the, like the soft from the neck muscles hit the occipital ridge. So that's where the bone hits. So you're kind of getting up under there. You could take 2 fingers right here, or you can just do a palm or whatever is comfortable for you. So you're going to slide here, you're going to go there, and you're going to be doing a squeeze. And this is exaggerated, but you're doing a squeeze and a lift, and then a relax and release. And you're doing 3 times each. So we're going to kind of slide up the ridge of the nose. You're going to kind of lock under here, and you're going to go squeeze in and inhale and exhale. And again, squeeze in and up and exhale. And you're doing this as well. Okay. And you're doing it together. Squeeze in and exhale. And what it does is just kind of resets the hormonal piece. And it seems very simple, but it can immediately get you out of fight or flight. Or people who have allergies, like seasonal allergies, where like with anything that's in your sinus area, sometimes you just do that and it just sort of interrupts that stress response. It's like, I know when I do allergy desensitizing on people, you're looking for what's reacting to the sensitivity. And a lot of people, it's that area. So that's the correction for that. So someone could be around a cat and instantly they start to do that, and then they stop having the symptoms. So those are just the 2 I'm going to show you right now, just because I feel those are the 2 overriding things that really throw the electrical body out of whack. Now that we've released the muscles that are constricting and we're reconnecting the circuits, it's great to be doing the breath. And also when you're doing that, you want to visualize energy, almost like light coming through. There's, the intention and the visual with that is very effective. But part of it is really connecting the circuits. So you want to connect the circuits, and we're closing the gaps. So the subconscious beliefs, the triggers, those are the things like when people do breath work and suddenly they have an emotional release, or, it's like we're hitting these things that we've been avoiding, some like physically, our body stores, like when we have emotional things, our body contracts, and it kind of holds that there. And it's amazing because I can be working with someone and they start to unwind, and then they'll have this huge emotional release. And it all comes back to like, they have the memory of something that happened to that body part 12 years ago that they hadn't even thought about. But all of that is held in, it's called cellular memory. It's just the emotions and everything gets stuck, and then everything's working around them. So it's causing interference. So part of the breath work is, every time you do it, you're connecting more circuits, you're creating more of a system for it to go through. They're called like the body locks. So, and every different modality explains it differently. I like Susan Morter's work, the energy codes, and she has a great system where, you want to hold these body parts so that you're grounding your energy work and your breath work in your physical body, so that it becomes more efficient. And then when you release and you connect to the field, you're still grounded and you're intensifying. So you're intensifying your connection. So sort of like when you're somewhere and your Wi-Fi isn't working and you connect to that tower, we want to make sure that we have everything, we're building up our connecting tower. So the first thing is your mula bandha. So that's your root lock. So you want to kind of, it's almost like you're contracting those sphincter muscles, like Kegels. It's like if you were, say you were stopped mid-pee, say you're going to squeeze that. You kind of want to feel that. You might want to do 3 of those, like kind of contract and relax and contract, you're just kind of putting it online because, look, again, if we're not using it, we're losing it, and we're not, so we want to really bring that into our breath work because that's your root lock. That's where you're connecting. That's your sacral chakra. That's your chakra. That's your grounding point. So you really want that to be strong. So you're going to contract that and kind of breathe into it and then breathe back into the ground, and then you want to, once you kind of get that established, then you want to kind of breathe in while you're squeezing it. And then you keep it squeezed. And then now you exhale, kind of bring the breath up. And then you're going back to the pelvis and then exhaling down. But the transition point is your sacral chakra, but you're contracting your pelvic floor while you're doing it. And it's just called a root lock. And once you develop that, that's something when you're stressed, anything, you kind of grab that when you're feeling insecure or when you're feeling not grounded. And right then your body's going to go back online. It's your way to put yourself back online. So again, it's your Mula Bandha. You're going to just contract and breathe. Breathe in and breathe out, keeping that contracted. Okay, so that's your root lock. I think that one's really important. Then you want to go to your heart. So that's your chest muscles. And to keep that in your physical body, part of that is kind of bringing your shoulders back and you're almost like squeezing your heart. You want to keep your chin up. You're just kind of creating this contraction. And so now you want to breathe in to this area and exhale and just see what it feels like when it's contracted. So you contract it and then you exhale. And part of it is picture like a baseball into a grapefruit, grapefruit to a baseball, and then release back down. Now bring it up, grapefruit to baseball, baseball to grapefruit, and relax. And then that becomes your transition point. So again, it's baseball to grapefruit. And then this time you're pushing the energy up and you're exhaling back down to a baseball. And then you bring it back down, inhaling, baseball to grapefruit, grapefruit to baseball, and then down. So this is your transition point. So that's your heart chakra. That's when you're, to me, that's so important when you're trying to manifest, when you're trying to connect to your higher self, when you're not feeling connected to yourself or to others. A lot of times we have a block there. So when we go in and physically move that energy, sometimes you might have an emotional release. Sometimes, you start moving it and then you realize, oh gosh, I wasn't even taking a deep breath. And now I can, it just softens everything. Because again, you can go in and release those muscles, but if you're in a scared, stress, emotional state that's wanting to protect you, it's going to stay tight. So this is you telling yourself it's okay. You're safe. So again, to recap, we're going to do our Mula Bandha, which is contracting the pelvic floor, moving the energy up, keeping your shoulders down and back, kind of bringing your wings together in the back and squeezing your chest. And so then you're going from a baseball to a grapefruit, grapefruit to a baseball, and then up. And then now you come back down to your chest, baseball to grapefruit, grapefruit to baseball, and back down, So again, we're just sort of moving the energy, sort of like when you blow in the microphone to kind of blow out the static. We're just moving things. Now we're going to move up to the throat because we hold a lot there. So that it's almost like you're bringing your chin in, and you almost want to feel it, sort of that like Darth Vader breath. So you almost want to do a breath where you can kind of feel it. So just not doing the other ones, but just kind of focusing on the throat. If you inhale, you're sort of getting that sense and moving. And think about that. In so many spiritual practices, they do toning. We do singing in church. We do so. We're vibrating that. So that's moving energy. So that's part of the breath too. When you get up to the throat, you want to really kind of keep your chin in and you want to feel the sensations physically in your throat, because again, that's going to move a lot of blocked energy. And you don't have to have a story around it. You don't have to, connect to the emotion, anything like that. You're just moving it. You can go in more specifically, and that's another technique I'll teach you later. But again, just for a basic opening up the flow. That's that third lock that I think is really important. So again, if we just connect those three now, we're connecting your mula bandha, we're contracting the mula bandha, you're contracting your pelvic floor, you're kind of pulling energy up. You can either visualize a white light, you're doing it with breath, it can be intention only, and you're physically moving it up, through your spinal system. You're bringing it up to your chest, shoulders back, tight. Go from a baseball to a grapefruit. Exhale, now we're going up to the throat. And then this time when you breathe in, and now you keep moving it up. And again, we can be moving up, we can be moving down, we can make either any and all the transition points. You can go up to that point and go back down. You can go up and go through. You can visualize going back and forth. We're basically just opening up the energy. Like, so if you've ever had energy work done in you and you see people like moving their hands around, we're just sort of like, just moving, getting things flowing. Because when things are stagnant, just picture a river and it's all like algae and you get things moving, then things start flowing. So that's all really, we're using the breath as a tool to kind of open up and remove that constriction. So now the fourth one is the third eye. So again, it's the pineal. And what you want to do with this is when you breathe in, you're kind of picturing the energy, you're picturing the light, you're pulling the breath up. And what you want to do with your eyes, you want to close them, but then you want to look up. It's almost like if you're looking right here with your eyes closed, and you'll kind of feel like the musculature and the ligaments and all that back there, a little bit of not a strain, but you're feeling it. But it's a way of telling your body like, hey, I'm here. It's keeping a physical sensation mixed with the meditative practice. So go ahead and close your eyes, and we'll forget the other ones and just kind of come up. And when you get to the third eye, roll back, or like roll your eyes up, and then exhale back down. And then you can relax the eyes on the exhale, or you can tilt them down on the exhale. So you want to breathe in, roll your eyes back, like as if you're looking at your third eye. And now roll your eyes forward and down and exhale. And then breathe up to the third eye again. Roll your eyes back. And then roll them forward and exhale. And now this time we're going to kind of go up and go through the third eye, because again, we're trying to open up this connection to your higher self, to your connecting self. And so we're connecting all these circuits so that you have a pathway. So now we're going to breathe in. We're going to close our eyes, roll them back. And this time when we exhale, we're just picturing the energy going up. And then you're breathing it from top, bring it back down to the center of your head. Then when it hits the center of your forehead, again, you can tilt your eyes either way. Really, we're just kind of wiggling it. It's not so much the specific thing you're doing as if you're just kind of connecting those neural pathways and kind of letting them know, like physically, this is where we're going. So now you're going to breathe in, go to your third eye, roll your eyes back, and then exhale out the top of your head. And then bring it back down through the center of the head. When it gets to the third eye, now tilt your eyes forward with your eyes closed and exhale down. And just do a few of those breaths. And, in the future, we're going to build on these. We'll do each one as a segment until we really get comfortable. These are anchoring the energy and the breath into physical parts of your body. So you're creating this channel. So this is your the channel of breath that's going up, and you can be visualizing light. You can just be focusing your breath. Ideally, you'll be doing both, but you're keeping it in this container so that you're really connecting circuits. Because each time you go through, suddenly maybe a different memory will come up, or you'll feel snagged somewhere. And that's where then we'll give you more tools to kind of move that out. And each time, then you're building, building, building. And before you know it, your field's expanding, because now you're grounded and you have a clear pathway that's going to bring you up, connecting to your higher self, getting you out of your physical body, getting you out of your limiting beliefs. And then you can connect to the unified field. And then you're bringing in information that's from your higher self. It's not based on fear. It's not based on subconscious triggers. It's not based on a physical contraction that makes your body think you should be afraid of a situation. So the more you're moving that, like it's never the same. Every day you're going to wake up and you're going to feel something in a different place. And that's where you want to direct the breath. That's where you want to direct your energy. And just sit with it for a minute. Like see if an emotion comes up, see if notice like, oh my gosh, my whole body tightens, but the idea is you just soften and you keep breathing through. You let your body know that it's okay to go past that point because that's part of evolution. It's like we want to be safe. So we stop, we run or we stop. So we always talk about fight or flight, but there's also freeze. And a lot of people get stuck in that. And then communicates that to the unified field. And it thinks, no, she thinks she wants to have this great job, but really she's much safer staying right here. So the more we move it, then we're working and we're connecting with the unified field, which then, when you start doing meditation and breath work, when you're really connecting to your body points and you're really moving out the static and the subconscious junk along the way, then it's amazing. Like you can have all these plans, but once you have this clear channel, things start organizing around you. Like I can't tell you how many times I'll think, oh, this is what I want. And then by the time I'm done doing this meditation, like everything starts showing up. Like I had all these plans, but I didn't even have to go looking for them. Like it'll just suddenly someone will call, or it's the point now where it used to always be like, oh my gosh. And now it's like, I almost expect it. But when I'm out of the flow, it happens the exact same way. Everything starts to go backwards. So it's really important to always connect to your body, get your Mula Bandha, your heart center, your throat, your third eye, all of those anchor points connected. And then just basically you're just moving the breath through, and then your circuitry's online. You're a better communicator to whatever you're trying to create in your life. So those are just a few things. So again, we worked in the physical, we worked on connecting the electrical circuits, and then we are working on creating a pathway for the breath. And again, any breath work works. There's, nostril breathing, there's breathing in your mouth and out your nose. Everyone's going to find what works best for them. But again, as long as you have your anchor points in place and you're feeling relaxed and you're feeling safe and your body subconsciously knows you're safe, you're going to be able to expand at such a higher rate. And then it'll just show up in your life. Okay, so these are just a few techniques. There's so many more, but these are just, again, trying to integrate your nervous system, a way to stay grounded. So, you can do one, you can do all. Again, we'll build them into a daily routine